Mistakes, we've all been there. So, how do you admit a mistake, deal with a mistake, apologize for a mistake, fix a mistake at work, and still remain professional and still look capable in the work that you do? Well, don't worry, you're in good hands. I'm Melissa B. Duarte, the author of the Global Business English Mastery Series. I'm here for all things business English, and we're going to dive into the situation of making mistakes because everyone makes mistakes and admitting mistakes and dealing with them in a professional and tactful manner. We're going to go through different categories. First will be owning mistakes professionally. So taking ownership and admitting your mistakes, but remaining professional. We'll take a look at casual and formal apologies when you make mistakes. We'll take a look at fixing errors at work. So when you do make a mistake and you fix it, how you verbalize that you are fixing it. We'll take a look at mistakes that come from misunderstandings and miscommunications. Sometimes mistakes are not mistakes, it's just a misunderstanding or miscommunication. So, what to say in those situations. And at the very end, we'll dive into some key business English idioms, phrasal verbs, and terms that work for mistakes. Let's jump in. Okay, the very first category I have for you here is soft alternatives to saying, I made a mistake. So, soft alternatives means you're avoiding the word mistake. In English, especially in business English, you want to avoid negative words as much as possible. And mistake is a negative word. So, if a mistake happens, that's on me. That one's on me. So, someone notices, oh, the date is wrong in the contract. Oh, that one's on me. That's on me. And you're just saying, that was my mistake. That one's on me. That's on me. You're not apologizing for it. The contract didn't go out. The report hasn't been presented yet. It's not a huge deal. You don't have to always say, I'm sorry, or I made a mistake, or my apologies. No, if it's just a typo, that one's on me. That's on me. You're admitting that was your mistake, but you're not using the word mistake. It's quite soft. Next one, if it's a bit bigger of a mistake, or maybe something was sent out, people bring it to you saying, listen, this was an error. This was a mistake. I take full responsibility for that. Again, you're not saying that was my mistake. You're not saying I made an error. I made a mistake. You're saying I take full responsibility for that. Let me fix it. I take full responsibility for that. By saying that, you're saying it was my mistake. It was my error. But you're not using the word error. You're not using the word mistake. It sounds that you're just taking ownership of it. Yep, that was a problem. Let me fix it. But you're not saying problem. You're not saying mistake. You're not saying error. You want to avoid this. It keeps you sounding professional and capable in English and in business. Next one here that was an oversight on my part. And an oversight is a fantastic synonym for mistake in business English. Oversight just means I was so busy. I was working on such high level items that I just missed it. I missed it because I was so busy working on so many other things. So that was an oversight on my part. Oversight means mistake. That was an oversight. You spelt the supplier's name incorrectly in the contract. Oh, that was an oversight. Let me fix it. That was an oversight on my part. Or the client meeting was booked for 2:00 and they had an invitation for 3:00. That was an oversight on my part. I was so busy doing so many things that I made that mistake. So oversight is a great synonym for mistake or error. Next one would be, I missed that. Thanks for catching it. Now, if someone comes to you and brings you a mistake or an error that you made, appreciate that they took the time to bring it to you, even if it's your manager or someone higher up. And I missed that. Thanks for bringing that to me. I missed that. Thanks for catching that. So again, you're not saying, I made a mistake. I made an error. I missed that. Thanks so much for catching that. I missed that. Thanks so much for bringing that to me. It's a fantastic ways, and these are still taking responsibility. It's still admitting you made a mistake, but you're not using that negative language. You sound so professional. Next one is, I realize I made an error. I'll get on it right away. I realize I made that slip up. I'll get on it right away. And a slip up is a mistake. So if there is an error and it's a big error, well, you have to say what it is. You can't necessarily say it's an oversight or I missed that. If you made a mistake, you made a mistake. But error is a lot nicer than mistake. So I realize I made that error. Let me fix it right away. I realize I made that slip up. Let me fix it right away. And slip up is a small little mistake because you're so busy. And error is just a synonym for a mistake. And you're saying, let me fix it right away. I'll get on it right away. Okay, so here are some great ways to say I made a mistake that are a little bit more casual, a little bit more informal, depending on the industry you work in. These work fantastic in most situations. Truly, most business English is not overly formal. It's kind of a blend of informal and formal. So these work in most situations. The first one is, I dropped the ball on that one, or I dropped the ball here. And if you don't know this term, the ball is your responsibility. what you're responsible for. So if you drop the ball, you made a mistake. You made a mistake. You didn't hold on to, you didn't carry your responsibility. You made a mistake. You missed something, or you didn't coordinate something correctly, or you just made a mistake. You typed something in wrong, or you got names mixed up, or coded something incorrectly. So I dropped the ball on that one. Looks like I dropped the ball on that one. And that's perfectly fine. It just means I had a responsibility and I didn't fulfill that responsibility. Again, you're not saying I made a mistake. I dropped the ball on that one. This is quite nice because you're taking ownership for the fact that you had a responsibility and you didn't fulfill it correctly. It's fantastic. Next one is, now if you missed something, if something was a mistake, maybe you were editing a presentation and you, duplicated some key points, or you had an important meeting and you forgot the meeting. If you actually made a mistake because you forgot something, you say, I let that one get right past me. So someone comes to you saying, let's say you've duplicated 2 points in the report. Oh, I let that one get right past me, as if it just went right past me and I just didn't see it. It was like an oversight. So I let that one get right past me. Next one would be, I messed up a little bit on that. Let me fix it. So I messed up. Messed up is a phrasal verb meaning I made a mistake. I messed up. Another word you could say is screwed up. This is very informal. I wouldn't use screwed up in business English, but messed up is perfect. I messed up on that one. I messed up a little bit on that one. Let me fix it right away. So you're taking ownership for the mistake you made, but you're saying, I messed up. I messed up a little bit. I messed up a bit on that one. Let me fix it right away. Another one would be when you do make a mistake and the mistake was something, maybe you just did something incorrectly, not wrong. And what this means is maybe they were looking for, a client was looking for a certain type of product and you give them a different product, not exactly in line with what they expected. So you can say, oh, that didn't go as planned. Let me fix that. And so that didn't go as planned means I didn't really make a mistake. I didn't send them the wrong thing. I misunderstood kind of what they were wanting or needing, or I assumed they wanted this and I made a mistake, but that didn't go as planned. Let me fix that right away. Let me fix that for them. So that didn't go as planned, meaning you made a mistake, not because it's a complete error. You just misinterpreted the situation. Later on in this video, I'm going to go through all these situations where mistakes happen because of a misinterpretation or a misunderstanding. But this is one here that's a little bit casual and that didn't go as planned. Let me fix that right away for you. And the last one would be, that was a mix up on my end. So mix up is when you make a mistake because you mixed something up. You mixed up dates, you mixed up people, you mixed up suppliers, you mixed up codes, whatever the case may be, you mixed them up. So you made a mistake because you mixed one for the other. Okay, this next category here is when you have made a mistake and you know you made a mistake, and then someone comes to you saying, oh, this is a mistake. So this is not news to you that you made a mistake. This is not a surprise. You send something out and you realize, oh, that was wrong. Or you already are aware of it. Someone's already told you, and then another person comes and tells you. So this is when you're admitting that you make a mistake, but you're already working on it. You're already aware of it. So the first one here is, I've already taken steps to correct it. So someone comes to you, oh, do you realize there's a big error in the coding? I've already taken steps to correct it. So by saying this means I'm aware of it. I'm working on it. I'm going to correct it. And this is so powerful. You're not surprised. So you sound that much more professional going, oh yes, I'm already aware of it. So it's not that you're completely in the dark or you don't know that this happened. You're aware of it. So I've already taken steps to correct it. This is beautiful. This means you're so professional. Yeah, there was a mistake. I'm fixing it. No problem. I've already taken steps to correct it. Next one here is if someone comes to you saying, oh, there's an error here. I've already fixed the issue, or I fixed the issue and I'll put a better process in place, or I'll make sure this doesn't happen again. So I've already fixed the issue, I've fixed the issue, and I'll put a better process into place going forward, or I'll make sure this doesn't happen again, or going forward, this will not repeat. So you're saying you've already fixed the issue, it's already been done, and you'll make sure these errors don't come up in the future. This is beautiful. Another one is, that's now resolved. Thanks so much for your patience. So if it is a bigger mistake that's actually delaying other people's work, don't worry. Now that's all resolved, or that's now resolved. Thanks so much for your patience. Thanks for your patience. So if people are waiting for you for your part of a project, your coding, your delivery, your report, your presentation, there was a mistake. Someone comes to you, oh, this is a mistake, has to be rewritten, redone, recoded, resent. That's now resolved, or that's resolved now. Thanks so much for your patience. Thanks for your patience. It's beautiful. I mean, it means that you're aware of it, you fixed it, and you appreciate their time. Another one is, I appreciate the heads up. I've updated it accordingly. This is pretty formal, but the heads up is advanced warning on anything. So I'll be late for the meeting. thanks for the heads up. It just means thank you for the advanced warning. But someone comes to you saying, oh, there's a mistake here. I appreciate the heads up. I've updated it accordingly. I've updated it. That's present perfect. It means I was aware of it already and it's already been fixed. So if you have already fixed an error, this is fantastic. You're appreciating the person for coming to you, making you aware of the mistake, even though you already knew it. But I appreciate them. I appreciate the heads up. I appreciate you letting me know. I've updated it accordingly. I've already updated it. Meaning, thank you for coming to me. It's already dealt with. And the last one is it's sorted out now. Thank you so much for flagging it. It's sorted out. Thanks for flagging it. And flagging it is you put a little red flag on something saying problem, issue, but it's sorted now. It's already sorted. And sorted means dealt with. So it's sorted now. Thanks so much for flagging it. Okay, this next category is fantastic because sometimes mistakes are not mistakes. They're not my mistake. They're a mistake from miscommunication or misunderstanding. So yeah, I mean, of course, it's still a mistake. It could be my misunderstanding. I didn't ask enough questions. My level of English was not as high as it needed to be. Whatever the case may be, you're not saying it was a mistake or an error. You're saying it was a misunderstanding or miscommunication. So this is what you say in these situations. So looks like I misunderstood the instructions. That's it. So the client wanted ABC. You sent them EFG. Oh, looks like I misunderstood the instructions. Don't worry, I'm on it. Don't worry, I'll fix it. Looks like I misunderstood the instructions. You're just saying it was a misunderstanding. And of course, you're taking ownership, saying, looks like I misunderstood the instructions, but you're not saying I made a mistake. You're not saying I'm an idiot. You're not saying I don't listen. You're not saying I don't understand. You're saying, looks like I misunderstood the instructions. Let me get on it right away. It's beautiful. This is fantastic. You remain very professional by saying this. Another one would be if it is a clear error with dates, timing, something you entered, some important information which you entered incorrectly, some details or timelines. You can say, I misread the timing or I misread the details. Totally my doing. Let me fix it. So here you're completely taking ownership. You're saying, I misunderstood the timing. I misunderstood the data. I misunderstood the details. My fault. I will fix it. But you're not saying those words. You're saying, I misread the timing of the deadline. I misread the details of the contract. But you're not saying of the thing. That's fine. I misread the timing. Totally my doing, which means it's completely my responsibility. Totally my doing. I'll fix it. I misread the details. Totally my doing. I'll fix it. This works great for emails. This works great for in-person conversations. Another one would be when there is a misinterpretation, probably because of a language barrier. This could be your client, your supplier, your boss, whoever it is, and their language and your language doesn't meet. So, of course, mistakes can happen because there is a language barrier. I was under the impression that, and you explain your situation, but I see now that I was off. And that's all you say. So you're not saying, his level of English was not as good as mine, or my level of English was not as good as his. You're not saying that there was necessarily a miscommunication. You're saying, I was under the impression that we were rolling out the launch of the product next month. Maybe it's supposed to be in 2 months, for example. So I was under the impression that we were rolling out the project next month, but I see now that I was off. And that's all. You're saying, but I see now, I understand now that I was off. I misunderstood. So I was under the impression that, describe a situation, but I see now that I was off. It's perfect. And you're not saying that I was wrong. Again, wrong is a negative word. You want to avoid these. Anytime you use negative words, I was wrong, I made a mistake, it lowers how people view you professionally. Unfortunately, it does. So you want to say, but I realize now, or I see now that I was off. And the last one would be if you do make a mistake, and this is kind of when it comes to data or process, procedures, and if you're working with older information. So you made a mistake, maybe you pulled up the client's contract and you put in a certain address and you sent something to the address in the old contract, but not the current contract. So you made a mistake. You made a mistake. But if you made a mistake because you worked with older information or you didn't have the newest information, apologies, I was working with outdated information. Now, apologies is not the same as saying I'm sorry. Apologies means I'm sorry. It's just as polite. It's just as kind. You're accepting responsibility and you're apologizing to the person, but you're not saying I'm sorry. You're saying apologies, which is a lot more professional than saying I'm sorry. I was working with outdated information, which means there was a miscommunication, or I pulled up the wrong document, but you're acknowledging the fact that you were working with older information. Now you have the new information. You'll fix it. Okay, now let's go over some great idioms and phrasal verbs and phrases that can replace saying I made a mistake. The first one is drop the ball. Again, we have the ball, and the ball is your responsibility, what people expect of you at work. If you drop the ball, you failed to carry out your responsibilities. You did not act in a professional way. You made a mistake. Basically, you dropped the ball. You missed something. That's what happens. If you are on the ball, it just means nothing gets past you. You're very effective and efficient in the work that you do. You're very professional. But I dropped the ball. So I failed to act on something. Sorry, I dropped the ball. I knew we were meeting at 10 o'clock. I let that one get right past me. I dropped the ball. By saying I dropped the ball, it means I made a mistake. I had a responsibility. I did not fulfill it. This is very powerful. I dropped the ball. And that's all you have to say is, and this means I had a responsibility. I didn't act on it. I failed in that responsibility. I dropped the ball. Another one here is a phrasal verb, and it can be a verb or it could be a noun. And I slipped up. And to slip up, I mean, if you think of someone walking and there's a banana and they slip on the banana, this is what it means. So I slipped up means I made a mistake, but this is a smaller mistake. And that what in many phrasal verbs, when they become very common in English, I slipped up. That was now a slip up. So you can call that mistake a slip up. So I slipped up. That was a slip up. I made a mistake. That was a mistake. And you'd use slip up for something that's a smaller mistake, not a huge mistake. I slipped up. Let me fix it. That was a slip up. I've already corrected it. So slip up is a smaller mistake. Very similar to slip up is mix up. And mix up just means when there's a miscommunication. So that was a mix up with the dates, or that was a mix up with the order for the client. That was a mix up with the meeting. And a mix up means you, again, it comes from a phrasal verb, you mixed up the information with what was current, what is older, what is correct, what is incorrect. I mixed up the dates. That was a mix up. We tend to use a mix up as a phrasal verb noun more than the actual verb itself. So that was a mix up as opposed to I mixed up the dates. Better to say that was a mix up. And it means it was a mistake because I mixed up two things. And the very last one here, which I had before in the video, but this is very important, to own up to something. If you own up to something, you take full responsibility for something. So if there's a big meeting and there was a mistake, with client A, who's responsible for this? I own up to it. I have to own up to it. Let me own up to it. It was my oversight. It was an oversight on my part. So I will own up to it. Let me own up to it, meaning it was my responsibility. It was my mistake. I dropped the ball. Okay, we've done it. We've gone through great ways to say I made a mistake without saying I made a mistake. If you found this video useful, I encourage you to like the video and subscribe to my channel for all things business English. Thank you so much for joining me.